Well, it is just that time of the year. As you guys can tell from the title of this video, for the Holmes Racing team, it is officially the sprint car off season. But if you guys are new to the channel, welcome back to today's video. My name is Tanner Holmes, and I'm a 17-year-old outlaw kart driver for Factory QRC. They are the #1 outlaw kart manufacturer in the nation. And then we also have our own family sprint car operation, Holmes Racing. And at the end of the day, we just absolutely love to race. We're from Southern Oregon, and it's kind of the time of the year here where it starts to get really cold. Surprisingly, all throughout October, we didn't get a lot of rain in our area. And the sun was actually out for most of the month, and then right when it hit November, just like a light switch, man, it got really cold. So the wintertime is kind of starting to set in here. It's gonna rain a bunch. You know, you're not gonna wanna be outside. Definitely gonna wanna have your winter coat on and make sure you have your heater on in the shop. So if you followed along with me through my journey throughout 2020, it was up and down. We didn't start racing till about June because of COVID-19 and all the restrictions that were happening here on the West Coast. We first started running at the Skagit Speedway. They opened up for Thursday Night Thunder, and that was such a blessing to get the opportunity to go up there and run more. I had only been there one time before, and that was for the 2019 Dirt Cup, so it was a huge blessing to get to run there more throughout 2020. I believe it was our third race of the season. We did unfortunately get upside down at Skagit. That set us back a little bit, but we were able to overcome it, run a few more races, and build our speed back up. We won our first race out in the Limited, but our main focus for 2020 was the 360 Sprint Car and try to go wherever they were racing along the West Coast. We primarily ran throughout Oregon, Washington, Montana, and then we decided in August to go back to the Midwest for the first time in my career in the Sprint Car. We got to run 2 nights in Wyoming with the ASCS Frontier region, and then we ran 6 nights in a row of ASCS Sprint Week. And what a challenge and blessing that was. It was so cool to get onto some new racetracks and actually build some confidence up on a few nights when we ran really well, like a 7th place finish at Lakeside the first night of the Speed Week, and then the third night of the Speed Week we ran 5th, our only top 5 at 81 Speedway. And then we used all the experience that we gained back in the Midwest, came back home, ran 4 nights in a row between the Skagit Speedway and the Electric City Speedway in Great Falls, Montana, and won 2 of the 4 nights there, and those were the first 2 360 Sprint Car wins of my career. And then we had one last big bang of the season, and that was when we went back to Wheatland, Missouri to run the Jesse Hockett Daniel McMillan Memorial with the American Sprint Car Series. We didn't necessarily get the results we wanted there, but we did have a few highlights during that trip. And then we finished our season off back at home with my younger sister, Carly, 14 years old, getting behind the wheel of a sprint car for the first time in the Limited, so that was super cool. So with all the success, struggles, ups and downs that 2020 brought, it is now time to get prepared for 2021. And that process starts now. So as many of you guys know, we have 2 sprint cars. They're both KPCs. So this off season, we want to send them both back down to KPC in California to have a few things done to them. Our 360 is just bent a little bit in the rear end, so we're gonna have him go through the car, make sure everything's all good to go. And then the car that we use for the Limited, it's just a few years older than our 360, and we need to have outlaw bars put in it because there's a few tracks throughout the Pacific Northwest that require those. And in 2021, if Carly and I are both trying to race and we're going to different places, we definitely need to have those in because, like I said, it's kind of becoming a standard here throughout the country. So we wanted to get our sprint car off season started off on the right foot. So Monday rolled around, my crew chief, Roger Henderson, who has been racing for like 100 years, he came up to the race shop and himself and I worked for probably about 3 or 4 hours just stripping down both sprint cars. Now this was great because even though I've been running the sprint car for about 3 years now, it takes so long to become an expert on these things. I'm talking 20, 25, 30 years. But Roger has always taught me the right way to do things, so it was fun to get to work in the shop with him 3 or 4 hours and just kick out our project of getting both cars stripped down. Now obviously when we're focusing, we're working hard like that, I don't get to take you guys through step by step, but what I did is I set up my camera and I did a time lapse the whole time from a few different angles of us just going through. We had to take out the front axle, had to take out all the radius rods, the rear end, the torque tube, the steering box, wing slider. Every little thing on the race car had to come off. It had to be down to a bare frame with just a motor plate on the front. But here's the time lapse of us both working in the shop from Monday. So this right here is our 360. Like I said, we stripped it down to a bare frame. We have the dash in there, and then we have the motor plate on the front. Now, we use this thing a ton throughout 2020. The other frame that you guys saw in the time lapse is not here at the shop. Immediately after we finished, since we had 3 people here, we loaded it in the back of my dad's pickup, and I tied it down with a few straps because he needed to take it somewhere. But that car doesn't have the dash in it. You see this one does. But anyway, the basis, these both are going to be heading down to KPC in California. He's going to be looking at them. Going through them, there's just a few little things that they want to do to them. And then, like I said, the other car needs outlaw bars put in. And then in front of it, we have the shop all arranged. Do you guys remember the one frame that we were dragging around for ASCS Sprint Week in case we got in an accident, in case we had to put together another car? Well, here is that frame. Here soon, slowly, we're gonna kind of start to put this thing together. It's nice, we got a new body here. And then we also have a rear end, but most of the parts for this thing have not come in yet. But here soon in the coming videos, we are gonna start putting this thing together slowly, so that'll be a really fun process to show you guys. In front of me though, here is all the parts that came off of both race cars, the 360 here on the top, and then the Limited here on the bottom. I know this isn't necessarily the greatest way to organize everything, but we're working on getting a table in here where we can kind of put something right down the middle and then separate them to make sure, you know, obviously they don't get mixed up. And then also, little by little, we're gonna be putting all of it through the solvent tank here to get it all cleaned up, so when we do reassemble those 2 cars that will be coming back from KPC, it'll all be clean and ready for 2021. So that is a look at the start of our off season. A lot of people have been asking what are our plans for next year. We are not going to be following any particular series. We are actually going to be doing something very similar to what we did throughout 2020. And that is kind of just race wherever we can. We're going to try to run a lot in Oregon. Hopefully by next year, a lot of things will be back to normal. So we'll be able to race close to home. Like for example, Western Sprint Tour, that's usually 5 or 6 nights in a row for a speed week. Or we'll be able to run ISCS Week of Speed, which is usually 6 or 7 nights. And then as well, travel up to Washington, Montana, probably go back towards Wyoming and race quite a few times throughout the Midwest. So we're pretty much gonna wanna do what we did throughout 2020, but just on a little bit of a larger scale and try to travel a little bit more. If you guys are a business owner or you wanna be a marketing partner on our team and help take our team to the next level, we would absolutely appreciate it. I'll put my email down in the description down below. Send me a message and we can get you guys on the car for 2021. If you don't have a business, but you're just a one-man show and you still wanna support, you guys can go on over and get a channel membership by hitting the join button. For $4.99 a month, you guys will get exclusive content. You get access to my private Discord group, which I actually just started today. And you guys can talk and chat with me, play video games, iRacing, all that fun stuff. I love to do that throughout a weekly basis. And one last thing to end today's video. A lot of you guys have been asking me, Tanner, please do a part 2 of reacting to my fans' worst crashes. I am going to be doing that here soon, so if you want to have your crash featured in that video, please send it to me at tannerholmesracing@gmail.com. Send it to me in the highest possible resolution. If it's all pixelated and stuff, I can't really put it in the video, but send that over to me. That was really, really fun to make, and I got a great response from you guys. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's video. Hopefully you kind of enjoyed it since it was a little bit of a shop type video. I know a lot of you guys enjoy that. I'm going to be doing a lot more of those throughout our 2020 off season. See you guys all in the next one. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment down below in the comment section. See you all in the next one. Deuces.